Hey everybody, it's Tekurah. Thanks for downloading this episode of the Monkees podcast. Just wanted to give you a warning, the sound isn't good. Brendan's mic is a little hot. Sorry, I'm new to recording this on my own. Bear with us. It'll be better next time, maybe. No, it will. Welcome everybody to the Monkees podcast. My name is Tekurah McCullough. I'm here with my friend. Oh, did you hear my voice crack? I'm here with my friend Brendan Michael Howard.
Hey, you remember my middle name and everything.
I do. Well, you used to use it, didn't you?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. How are you doing, Brendan?
I'm good. To make this an evergreen thing, do you want to we should just not talk at all about the fact that we're having to do this in homes and apartments and normally or someplace else, the fancy stuff. And we could just not talk about the pandemic because at some point in the future, when this is archived somewhere 5 years later, no one will remember COVID-19 and they'll be tired of talking about social isolation. So maybe just leave all that.
Okay. All right. I won't complain about missing the studio and Jason. Every single episode. And we won't talk about the fact that I lost the last episode.
That sucks.
That this is a repeat for me, not for anybody else. So they don't care. They don't care because they don't know because it's gone. Oh, Brendan. All right. So, gosh. We met when I was at my most annoying.
Why do you say that? Tell me.
I was in the early. Wait, was I 19 when we met? I might have been.
Yeah, you were Whittier. Was it Whittier? Were you at Whittier?
I was
okay.
Whittier, and Brendan was the most erudite XTC fan I've met on a message board. And I was like, "Who is this poet?" Oh, who this guy was. And he was so cute in Covina.
I'm glad to say that I didn't, whatever your vision was of erudite poet, that I have completely failed to live up to whatever those expectations are. I found myself many steps farther down the ladder. So, yeah. But I appreciate it. But, yeah.
Yeah.
I still like XTC. I don't listen to them that much, but they're great.
They are. I saw an interview. Somebody had posted a video interview with Andy, and as we all have, he has aged. And I was just like, no, I couldn't. I was like, no, I can't watch this.
So let me ask you, his hair is already gone at certain points. Has he cracked? Has he melted? Has he crumbled? What happened to him? How is it aging?
It's deep. The wrinkle deepened. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, you have an old man face now,
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, I feel so cruel. Because I'm like, we're all older, Tekurah.
Yes.
Everybody's getting older. You have to accept it. But for some reason with Andy, he looked the same for so long, I think is what it is. He kind of...
Yes, he really was ageless.
He looked the same for a good 20 years. He just looked exactly the same.
Now, if we're talking about periods, he and the other members looked different in photo stuff from the first couple albums. They looked like young, rail-thin British teenagers. But then once they aged and they decided, we're done with these shows and stuff, we want to just be ourselves, then they were themselves for decades. Yeah, they just looked like themselves. The three main dudes, they just look like...
Yeah, and then, oh boy. Anyway, but Andy did write those songs for the Monkees.
What Andy wrote for the Monkees TV show?
No, not for the TV show. For their album a few years ago, he wrote "You Bring the Summer" and one that's not on the album. The album is called "Good Times." I'm a bad fan because I can't remember what year. It was probably 2016 because that would have been an anniversary year, right? Yes, 2016. "Good Times" was the name of the album, and that was. He wrote another song that I really like, and I'm sure everybody listening knows what it is, and I can't remember, but it's not on. It's like a B-side, it's like an extra track that didn't make it onto the album.
Yes.
Anyway, Yes, and yes, Andy Partridge wrote like songs for the Monkees because he was, of course, a Monkees fan.
That's it. Did he write? So he wrote those songs specifically for them. It wasn't like Prince will Prince super prolific, so he'd write these songs. They just stack up, and then when he'd meet someone, he'd be like, sometimes he would write it for them, but then sometimes he would have it be like, this is perfect for you. Do you know which Andy did? Andy was like, I'm writing songs for the Monkees.
You know what? I don't know. I did listen to the interview. He did do an interview on that other Monkees podcast, and I have a feeling that Andy is probably the person that has like bits of songs lying around, and so he probably just like picked up a song and they're like, "No, this one will work." I honestly think that's probably what happened. Yeah, it's great. There's a video for it. It thrills me. So yeah, it was like a perfect marriage of everything. It's almost as exciting as the time when I found, I have on my wall over there, and I should protect it, our old what is it called, Record Mirror, an old Record Mirror magazine that has XTC on the cover, and it has an article about ABBA on the inside, and I was like,
there's like too many things of your interest, like the Venn diagram is just sparkling, there's two circles intersecting.
I was like, that's like one of the few things I bought off eBay was this Record Mirror with XTC and ABBA. So yes, when the things that you love combine, it's very exciting.
Yes, although let me ask you, I don't want to derail too much onto Andy Partridge and XTC, but thinking about what you've told me, that he wrote these songs for the Monkees, it seems like Andy Partridge does a couple, he gets there's two tracks to his music. One track is the obsessive perfectionism that comes with the XTC albums. That means they can't come out regularly and only when he's ready, and they take forever to finish. There's huge gaps between albums from XTC. But then he also co-writes or pitches out stuff for his friends in England, and he writes fuzzy warbles, just like you said. He's got these studio recordings or car recordings, just stuff when he comes up with an idea. He makes a little song, bangs it out, and he's like, oh, you guys want to listen to this? Go ahead. It's always weird. Like, he's got this one part that's like, oh, whatever, it's fine as it is. And this other part that's like, nope, it's only done when it's done. I don't know why he bifurcates that way.
I don't know either. Maybe it's easier just to concentrate on one song at a time as opposed to a whole album.
Yeah.
I don't know. Damn it, Andy. Makes sense.
Fit into my little box. You're not fitting into my box.
Another thing I was thinking, I was going to try to have you done Animal Crossing? Animal Crossing is like one of my obsessions now.
No, I have not played it, but boy, have I seen a lot of TikToks about it.
Oh, I don't TikTok. You're ahead of me there. But my island is named Skylarking. And you can rewrite the island tune. There's a little island tune that plays whenever you talk to people. And I rewrote it as like the opening. No, not the opening. It's from what's the first track? What's the first track on Skylarking? Is it Summer's Cauldron?
Could be. Yes.
Yeah, anyway, yeah. So my little island tune is like a phrase from Summer's Cauldron. So my island is awesome. Everybody come visit my island. I will give out my code online. Anyway, so Skylarking, and I want to eventually. I'm going to just make it into Swindon. I just want to make my island Swindon. I do have a Stonehenge. My friend did give me a Stonehenge. I'm going to make an Uffington horse somewhere. Anyway, I'm obsessed. Okay. Well, back to the Monkees. I should have just named my island like the Pad, and then like done a Monkees themed island.
That would have been this whole thing where you're trying to feed your many interests. No, you should be narrowing into your brand. Your brand now, Tekurah, is the Monkees podcast. Everything you do must have to do with the Monkees. You have to let everything else go.
Sorry, XTC. Sorry, ABBA. It's over now. I have to quit my job. Okay, so the episode that we are going to watch.
Okay.
Is called Dance Monkee Dance. Have you watched any, what is your Monkees relationship?
Oh, this is perfect because so my main remembrance and memory of the Monkees is the fact that it was syndicated. I feel like it showed up on weekend television when I was at my grandmother's and there was nothing else to watch. So it would be Godzilla movies or Monkees episodes or Love Boat. So I liked sci-fi stuff, so the Monkees was never my bag. And then when I grew up and got into music, I'm the hostile witness to the Monkees because I'm like a constructed band. I don't know how I feel about this. It's the same reason I don't I look at BTS and I'm like, man, you guys are amazing. The Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, y'all are amazing, but you are constructed bands. Somebody had a business and they built a product called the Monkees. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. So
everything is constructed.
I know.
There's no purity in the music business.
I know.
Come on.
I know.
Grow up.
But I like to pretend. I came up in that time of grunge where you had those Seattle bands, the first ones that were picking their clothes out of the thrift store and refused to conform. And so that's always been my vision. And then that became instantly commercialized.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I forgot to tell you like the main thing about Brenton that I was obsessed with. Perfect Matthew Sweet hair. His perfect Matthew Sweet hair, you guys.
I still have it, right? I mean,
it's a little thinner.
And it's all white. It's all white.
Yeah, but that Matthew Sweet hair was good stuff, baby.
I will tell you, we were talking, so we talked about Andy Partridge, Matthew Sweet too. It makes me feel better to watch Matthew Sweet age because I'm like, well, that's basically what happened to me too.
Yeah, I'm okay with Matthew Sweet aging. Yeah. He looks fine. He looks sweet.
I agree. Yes,
okay.
I agree.
So this episode of Dance Monkees Dance is directed by James Frawley. This is a December episode, December 12th, 1966. Directed by James Frawley, written by Bernie Orenstein, produced by Robert Rafelson and Bert Schneider, associate producer Ward Sylvester, a Raybert production. When Peter gets suckered into a lifetime contract for lessons at Renaldo's Dance A Go-Go, it's up to Mike, Davey, and Mickey to bail him out. Songs include an early version of I'll Be Back Upon My Feet. Production notes. Dance Monkee Dance was filmed in October 1966. Thanks for that liner notes. That's awesome. I need to know when this was filmed. Screen Gem's original synopsis featured an unused storyline in which the Monkees mischievously wax Renaldo, Hal March, Renaldo's floor so that the dancing smoothies involuntarily end up in a huge dog pile when they try to perform their cotillion magic. Songs are I'll Be Back Upon My Feet and I'm a Believer, Neil Diamond. Composers of I'll Be Back Upon My Feet are Sandy Linzer and Denny Randell.
Wait, can I ask a question about those liner notes?
Sure.
Okay. You said, so there's two songs in the show. I'm a Believer. Does that show up repeatedly because it was a popular song?
Yes. It's on the next episode.
Okay.
and the episode after that. And it was the episode before this one. So I'm a Believer was like in episode 13 and then in episode 14 and then it's on episode 15 and then it's in episode 16 and then I think they take a break from it. So yeah, they were like, we got a hit, here we go.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh, so funny. So this is one of my favorites. And do you remember, you have no memory of ever seeing this?
Oh, no way. The only major, I remember all the Monkees were cute. They had good screen presence. If I had to pick somebody right off the bat, I'd look at, it's the tall guy with the hat.
No, that's Mike.
Mike, he's the one I liked his character, just a little schlubby, a little sarcastic. Yeah, I liked him.
Yeah, okay. All right, so here we go, everybody. We're going to watch this episode for the second time. No. And if you want to watch along, there's like certain online websites you can go to. I'm not endorsing them. I'm just saying you can go there. Or you can look for MeTV, DirecTV, and Sling. Happen to have episodes available there. Ooh, did a car just go by you?
Yes, sorry.
No,
yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
My air conditioning just came on. All right. So I'll see you afterwards. And we're back. Oh, Brendan's dancing. You guys are missing it. All right. So.
And not even to the real music. Can I say there's a lot of doodle-a-doo-doo-doo. It's kind of like some 1940s scat. I appreciate. Yeah, it was good.
Beat that new. All right. So. From Dance Monkees Dance, I sat down to watch this, and then I looked at Nintendo Switch, and I'm like, "Oh, I've already seen this episode. Did I just play Animal Crossing. And I did not.
Wow. And you bring it full circle. Your intro, you talked about your current obsession. Oh, you did or did not watch it again?
I did watch it again. I started, I turned on my Switch, and I turned on my character, and I was like, oh, there's stuff happening on my island. I was like, no, I can't do this right now. I need to watch this episode, even though I did just watch it.
Okay, I have a lot of things we could talk about. I want to talk about one thing. So we recorded that intro before we watched this, and I was completely wrong about Mike. So my impression was Mike, again, you see the stocking cap on him. He's actually kind of a little bit of the southern drawl, and he's not the character I thought he was. And now I'm in love with Mickey. Holy crap, that dude is really good.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, Mickey is amazing in this episode. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm going to use my old notes. Oh, you know what? I just realized the last episode, I mentioned at Helen Hurd on Twitter, at Helen Hurd, who told us that she loves Mike and Mickey, and she never got a shout out because I lost that last episode. So, sorry, Helen Hurd. You're so sweet, and thank you so much for listening. And I hate that you lost your shout out, but hey, now it's here. You didn't even know you lost it. You didn't even know, Helen. Surprise! Give you a shout out, and now you're getting a second one, but it's only the first one, so I'm talking in circles. All right, so this was Dance Monkees Dance, and it starts off with my favorite, Peter. It starts off, and again, laugh track. So much laugh track on this. I always forget how much laugh track there is.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just like, oh, look, he picked up the phone from under glass. Oh. Yeah, it's like, okay, let's calm down. So he gets a phone call, a random phone call from, what's her name, Miss Buntwell?
Yes, I looked her up on IMDb. Man, she only has one listing on IMDb as Miss Buntwell, Karen James. She's friggin' awesome in this episode.
I love Miss Buntwell so much. And her gold lame outfit. Oh gosh, she's amazing. Everybody has one outfit this episode, by the way. Nobody. This all takes place in one day. When it doesn't, but it shouldn't. So she calls doing the most excellent accent that you don't hear anymore. The Adelaide Guys and Dolls. You see a nice Joe, she says. Anyway, so she offers Peter dance lessons, free dance lesson, if he can get the trivia question right.
Yes.
Who's the 8th president of the United States. And of course, Peter has no idea because he's Peter. And so she says, you sound like a nice Joe, which is something I think I'm going to put into my vocabulary, a nice Joe, and gives him a series of hints, which, sweet Peter is too dumb to understand. He thinks it's a moving van at one point.
My favorite is she says his first name is Martin, and he's like, Dean Martin.
Dean Martin. So cute. Okay, and so then she finally gives him Martin Van, and then he finally gets Martin Van Buren, and he does the cutest little dance thing, and then we get our season, and then he's scared by the monkey that was sitting right next to him, and he gets.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Oh wait, one more thing. When we're introduced to her, she's on the phone with a thick accent. She's chewing gum. She's chewing gum, and she has a lit cigarette that she never smokes, but she has the lit cigarette plus the gum. I'm like, that's like a hardcore addict when they started the Nicorette. This is before Nicorette, but in my head, in my canon, I think she's chewing Nicorette, and it's such a day she's smoking with the Nicorette. That's my imagination.
Yes, I know. It's gum and cigarette.
Gum and the cigarette.
And the red hair. Oh, she is amazing. All right, so then we have our season 1 opening, and then we're at our. Oh, you know what? I just realized something that's kind of nice about doing this over Zoom instead of in the studio is like, the studio, I would have to be careful not to put my notes in front of the microphone. So I'd like hold it at a weird angle.
I've done that, yep.
No, I hold my notes right in front of my face. Doesn't matter. I was like, why can I see my notes so clearly now? Because I don't have to like not hit the mic.
Wait, you said the season 1 opening. Are there significant differences between the season 1 opening and other seasons? Okay, there are.
There's 2 seasons. And I have said repeatedly, and if there are actual listeners to my podcast, they're sick of me saying how much I hate the first season opening. I love the second season opening. The second season opening, the first season opening has Davy hitting the what do you call that? The strength.
The strength thing that shoots the thing up and hits the bell. Ding!
Yeah, it has that. Yeah. The second season opening has Davy in the Western outfit drawing a gun, and then his gun belt falls. It's a great visual, and it's great. And also the second season opening has the little joke of claiming that all of the shots are going on. It says Peter over everybody. It says Peter over Davy, and then they have a shot of Davy looking sad, and then it says Davy, and then Davy looks happy, and then it says Peter over Mickey, and then there's a shot of Mickey looking sad, and then it says Mickey, and then it has that little joke in the opening credits that I love. So I love second season opening credits so much better. Just FYI, I distracted somebody. No, texting me. Okay. So anyway, first season opening, and it's cute, but second season is the one. All right. So then we come back, and it's time for that first lesson, which Peter has dressed up for. He's got a suit on.
Yes.
And Miss Buntwell is saying how nice, how great he is. Lying. She is lying about it. She promptly steps on her foot, and she says something like, "I've never seen somebody pick this up so fast." And he says, "I'm pushy." I'm pushy. I love it so much. And then Renaldo comes in, is like, moo ha ha ha, get him to sign, moo ha ha ha. And then Miss Buntwell's like, oh, why would you? He seems like a nice person. I'm like, Miss Buntwell, you have been working here for a while. You know the grift, right?
She does know that. That's the interesting thing. She already does. Later on, it's established. She gets the grift. She knows what's going on. But, again, they clearly can't go all the way to make Miss Buntwell a total villain. Ronaldo's the total villain. She's not. She makes a comment like he says, all the suckers or all the, and she's like, they're not all suckers. And he's like, he basically makes a comment to her. This is all great. This is all a con. Right. What are you doing? How come you don't get this? She's trying to be nice. Inside,
but it's weird to watch numerous times. She calls him a real tiger. I'm just going to do Miss Buntwell's voice. Because you can't not do that voice. She says that calls Peter a real tiger, and then Peter goes, roar, which I spell R-O-R. Is what that's how he says it. Roar. It's adorable. And then I wrote, is she new to scams? All right. So then we go back to the pad, and as in the last episode, Bobby Oliver points out how closely Mickey and Davy are sitting on that staircase. Mickey and Davy are right on each other. Just cuddled up tight.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter is dancing, practicing his feet with the little feet on the floor. I don't know, you're younger than me. Do you remember those like little dance albums? I mean, that was old when I was coming up, but it was still referenced, where you would get like a sheet of paper and it would have like little footprints on it and numbers, and you would like, I step here and I step here to go with my little I'm learning to dance album.
I'm the same way. I saw the same thing. I saw this referenced in all the comedy, in all the Mad, all the stories in Mad, all the cracked comics, all the old cartoons. That's what you saw. Yeah, they had the footsteps. And he's got those yellow footsteps in the kitchen, right? So that's what he's practicing.
And he's practicing.
He practices the wrong way. They're one way, and then he turns and faces the camera and directly.
Okay, wait, hold on. My thing got all broken up and I couldn't understand what you said. I'm sorry.
Oh, crap. Sorry. No, I was just going to say he does have the steps. There's only about 2 or 3 we see on the floor, and he dances. Then he turns around and goes back the other way, clearly doing the dance steps incorrectly now if they're set up in a certain way. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but okay.
Well, he's like, I got it this way, so let me just turn around.
He is, right, mirror.
Yeah, so let me go try it the other way. And, of course, Mike is the dad, and he's like, what are you doing, Pete? What's happening? oh, did you sign anything? Sure. And it's like this super long contract. And he says it's an informal agreement. And then, they point out, wait, I can't remember what it is. It's like for in perpetuity or something. I can't remember the ridiculous.
It's a lifetime contract, and he says, "Oh, with option to renew."
Right. Oh, and then Peter has a problem with contracts, as we'll see in the future episode when he gives away his soul to the devil in the future episode.
Oh,
not good. Peter should not be signing things on his own. So there's a courtroom fantasy, because Peter's like, oh, I'll just rip it up. And like, dude, you can't do that. He's like, what? Who would convict me? Which he has a point, because he's adorable. Trying to convict Peter. Why would you send that to no, he would get away with it. But then we have like the wacky fantasy courtroom. What did you think of fantasy courtroom?
So this is where I instantly tapped into Mickey's energy, because I'm like, Mickey is channeling 1960s Monty Python powdered wig wearing character, with or without an accent, that intense absurdity of the character, and he brings it again in a scene later where he shows up pretending to be a lawyer. Yeah. It's a way of chewing the scenery without overshadowing the other people with you. So he chews the scenery up to the point at which it feels like he hits the next person's line or the bubble of the next person, and he doesn't overshadow them. I was fascinating to watch.
Oh, yeah, I've never known. You're right. He's great, but he doesn't take over.
Yeah. He doesn't ruin other people's stuff. But yeah, yes, I thought it was funny. All Mike is given to do is, he's the agitated judge, is clunk people on the head with his fake gavel, right?
Yeah. Yes, and it turns into, it's very Alice in Wonderland to me.
Yes.
It's very Alice about the perspective and the angles and the bonking people on the head, and the sound effects, and like that weird dubbed laughter
Mickey, right, exactly, where he's like, yes, the weird old man villain dubbed laughter, yes.
So creepy. But I do like that Mike eventually begins to eat his wig after a while.
Yes,
on his wig, which is adorable. Mike goes insane, and Peter starts laughing. I don't know if you caught this, but Peter breaks.
No, I missed that.
Peter totally breaks when Mike is hitting him on the head with the gavel. Like Peter breaks them up. I think and all the people that like break character or sometimes mouth the other people's lines, it's Peter every time. So they come back from the fantasy going, oh, well, yeah, we can't rip up the contract because in our fantasy courtroom life, that wouldn't work. So,
right.
So that's when Mickey goes back as the lawyer character with a weird accent.
Yes, he's putting on it's either a British accent or the standard American English accent of the 1940s and 50s, where everyone who was rich had a weird accent. I think I'm not sure what accent he was putting on exactly.
And he's got a bowler and glasses on, and a little suit, a little skinny tie, a little tie. And he's like, oh, where's the loopholes? And Renaldo's like, there's no loopholes. He's like, oh, so if you're saying if I sign this, I'll be...
So if I sign here and here, you're saying I'd be stuck in the contract too.
And I'm like, oh no, Mickey, you signed it.
And that's the point at which Renaldo, if he only had a mustache, would start twirling it. Yes, yes.
So we cut back, and there we see now Peter and Mickey are dancing together, practicing the dance steps. And Mickey's like, oh, I got to hang up about my feet. And then Mike's like, well, you can't send a boy to do a man's watch or a job or a badge or, some wacky stuff there. And so then Mike goes, and then, and I swear this is the only time I can think of where Mike gets to kiss a girl in the episode.
I was wondering about that because his romantic affair with Miss Buntwell is, and so I've never watched these other episodes, so I'm like, whoa, is Mike like the weird, like Southern laid-back ladies man?
No, he's not. I mean, like, I don't mind watching young Mike make out with, I don't mind. But, like, he wasn't, Davey is a heartthrob. But
yeah,
here's why Davey Davy has to be the dancer to go in the next scene. So structurally, you can't have Davy be the heartthrob if he's going to teach because he's the dancer.
Right, because every one of them has to get suckered into the contract one at a time in the 5-minute span. That's the joke.
Right. And so Davy has to save it because Davy knows how to dance. So Mike gets to like make out with Miss Bontwell, which is like uncomfortable because Mike is also the most adult looking one of them. And so it's like a little sexy. I'm like, oh. Like, whoa.
Also, at the end of that, I couldn't decide whether it was sort of an, it was, again, he's like putting the moves on her and pushing her in this way that like, that was okay back then and not now. But then she kind of gives in at the end. And yeah, they kiss a little. He signs the contract. And then she's like, no, the music's over. We're all done. He's like, no. And you're right. He goes in. We got a few seconds there like, whoa, this is like, she falls into it. He take like, oh, whoa.
Like, oh, that looks real. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know if Mike's that good an actor. I don't know. So anyway, so yeah, that's a great part. Who needs music? He says. Woo.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back to him practicing the dancing in the pad. And he says that, oh man, I signed up for graduate work.
Yeah.
I love that. And so then Davy's like, oh, you need somebody on the inside. And that's me, Davy the dancer. So then we get a full minute, by the way, of this dancing audition. It was long. It was funny. But then I decided to time it this time because I was like, last time I watched it, I was like, that seems really long. Him like, because Renaldo's pressing buttons, switching the music, and Davy's like dancing and switching his style of dancing, and it's cute. But I'm like, that seems really long. And so I timed it this time. It's 60 seconds. That is too long. I don't understand why we get, because it's Davy and he's cute, I guess. You gotta give the cute one a long scene.
And he doesn't have a lot to do up to this point. So if we're trying to get Davy in, like, oh, here's the first time Davy's in there. So you're right. Maybe they extended it. All the girls want to see Davy doing some dancing, even if it's a comedy thing. I don't know.
I guess it's cute, but wow, that's long. And then we have this cute back and forth between, so he gets hired, cute back and forth cutting between Renaldo and Davy and Miss Bontwell and an old lady talking about how, Davy's never taught before. And he's like, that's okay. And then Miss Bontwell's like, oh, all our teachers are experienced with like 7 years of teaching. And then she kind of makes a face like, I'm lying, everybody. And then it goes back to what is it? I can't remember the little jokes. Anyway, it goes back and forth between like, what's most important? Money is the most important thing, and then it's just a series of jokes between the presentation for the marks and what Renaldo's actual motivations are. And I need to turn off my phone because I keep getting texts from my mother.
I'm going to be honest, as you're describing the scene, this was the one time during the show, my attention flagged. There was something about this scene, like, didn't catch me. I don't know why. Like, I don't even remember watching it, and I just watched it.
I totally get it, because I'd seen this episode thousands of times. Probably not until like the last maybe 10 times did I actually catch this back and forth.
Okay.
Between that's not important. Well, the most important word is, the most important thing about dancing is money. You know, it's a cute back and forth, but it's low energy, and so you have to really be like paying attention if you get it. Everything before that has been like so whoa in your face, and then this is like kind of like a weird little subtle. The Monkees are subtle. You know, that subtle 60s boy band sitcom. Money isn't everything. Money is the only thing. That's the line. So then Martin Van Buren comes in because it's time for his. Yeah, that's cute. I like that part. I'm Martin Van Buren. Oh, he's so confused. All right, so the first lesson, and so the boys show up, and Davy is going to teach them the first lesson, and they don't know. Or no, Renaldo and Miss Bontwell doesn't know. They all know each other, and so he introduces Davy as like a longtime teacher or something.
Right.
And and then Mickey says, "Hey, that guy looks just like Davy." Peter says, "Is Davy?" Which is a nice switch. I like that Peter isn't always the dumb one. Sometimes Mickey is the dumb one.
Yes.
Sometimes Mickey is lost. And then we get our first romp. These are called romps. We get our first romp to I'll Be Back Upon My Feet, which is like it's kind of a forgotten song, I think. It doesn't really come up very often. I think it's kind of a cute song. It's not one that's like, in my probably top 50. But it's a cute little song. I like I'll Be Back Upon My Feet.
I liked it. It was interesting to see. I think there's a significant production difference between however they recorded this song versus how I'm a Believer is recorded. Because it almost felt like sort of quiet, a little mismatched, like demo quality song. Yeah. Like they didn't put the whole force into it. Like it's some B-side to a B-side. Yeah, I agree. It was also good. I liked it.
It's a cute little song, but yeah, it does feel like, it feels like a demo tape. Yeah. Totally.
And we've got them doing the Mexican hat dance.
Oh, so much of this is really cute, and then so much of it is like, oh no. They start off in like the Russian saber dance kind of outfit.
Yes,
That's kind of cute, and then that really nice matador outfits, which they used on a previous episode. We get some of the bullfighting scene, which was used in a previous episode when they had to milk a cow.
Okay.
That was from Mike had to milk a cow, and then they cut into a matador scene. Then we have the tuxedos and staircase, which is that used in the first season opening, or is that used in the second season opening?
I don't remember the tuxedos, but maybe I don't know how closely I was watching the opening. Anyway, good question though.
So the tuxedos where they're going up the stairs, all cute and dapper, and they all have a slightly different tuxedo, which I like. And like it's funny because like I think Mike is the one that's like careful. I think Mike looks down at his feet a couple of times when they're going up the staircase.
It's a pretty precarious thing for somebody who's not the dancer, sure.
Yeah, Davey, smooth. So smooth, sidestepping up that staircase. Peter is okay. His arms move a little bit too much. Mickey just cheeses it up. Mickey is just like, I can't do this. I'll just be ball. So yeah, I've way analyzed that whole tuxedo staircase thing. Then they do like a Polynesian stick dance thing, which I think is from the Philippines. I'm not sure. I seem to remember seeing some students do that when I was student teaching.
Yeah.
As the Asian student union put on like a little show at the high school, and I think that was part of theirs. Not weird, but just unusual to see. I don't know. Have you seen that in pop culture before? The stick dancing?
No, in fact, I wonder if the producers were confused because they were doing the stick dancing, but then when they cut to their stock footage, I'm like, it looked a little hula-ish, and I'm like, now I'm not sure where this is from. A little confused.
Yeah, it was. I don't think it's weird. I don't see that reference to that dance very often. Yeah, I forgot about the stock footage. Oh boy, because then they have like the African stock footage.
Yeah, a little bit. Mm-hmm.
And then they do what? There's like some kind of Spanish Roma kind of thing happening.
Yes, they actually they had some stock footage. It looked like it was from the Middle East or Algeria. And then they switched to them wearing costumes that were nothing like that. Yeah. And again, it was like, I don't understand one to the other.
Yeah, Algeria. Yeah, that's a good call. I never knew I keep wanting to look up where that stock footage is from. Because it kind of reminds me of MST3K, The Return. Oh gosh, what episode? What is that? It's Beast of Hollow Mountain. Yes, I think it's the Beast of Hollow Mountain, and it's a movie in Mexico. And part of it, there's like a street festival going on, and just like big, like paper mache like head things. Anyway,
yeah.
Cut back to the satellite. One of the cutbacks to the satellite is that Crow and Servo have those big heads on, and they're just like dancing around. And then Jonah's like super confused, like, what are you guys doing? What's happening? Talk to me. Why did you talk to me? He's just like freaking out because they're just dancing with these big heads on. Anyway, something that stock footage reminds me of that. I think it's just the way they're just the ladies in their big skirts, the way they're just kind of motoring around. It's fascinating.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, totally huge. That was a weird sidebar. Okay. Then we're at, stock footage white. Why did I write that? What does that mean? Stock footage white. Oh, I think I meant the white suits that the men were wearing. Okay.
Yes.
Then we're at the Mexican hat dance. Oh, boy.
So they're not. So this is what I think. Like the difference between, you think of the Looney Tunes, Speedy Gonzales, and you're like, oh, he's I don't think Speedy. It's lazy, but he's fast. That's the joke. At least here, there's no sense. We're not drinking like lazy Mexicans or anything. At least, yes, they're wearing sombreros. They're wearing, the sweatery vest kind of things. They're dancing around the hat. But at least there was no. It didn't seem like there was any negativity to this stereotype.
That's true. Yeah. I guess that is the good part.
Well, I don't know, but yeah.
It's just the stomping on the hat. I'm like, why are you guys crushing the hat? That's like, why are you doing that? I do like, because they cut each guy individually. They cut to each of them individually, kind of doing some kind of dance. And I do love that Mickey, #1, has the little string from the hat.
I was thinking the same thing. Like
in his face. And he is lackadaisically chewing gum as he dances. Like, I'm going to fling my arms around. I don't know why that kills me every time. Just the gum and the strap. It's so good. I love that. Then we get to the hula dancing, which I also think is cute because Mike isn't mad. They're making Mike they're drumming.
Yes.
Like pointing at Mike, like, go do the hula. And he's just like angrily like, well, I don't want to do this hula. I don't know, that gets me. I think that's really cute. Then they have some hula dancing stock footage. And then how do we end this trip around the world? We end it with a Native American indigenous rain dance reference. Oh, way to go, Monkees. Good job. So there's like a little bonfire. Like somebody built a fire on the studio lot, by the way.
And so, like you look, you're like, oh, that's a real fire, and they're indoors. This is both culturally problematic and safety OSHA level problematic.
Oh my God! Somebody built a little bonfire, and then they've got like little tom drums, or whatever you call. I don't know. They got like little drums. I don't know. Is tom? Is that like? I don't know if that feels racist saying it. Anyway, they've got the little drums.
Yep.
They've got Indian headdress, like a little Halloween store, Indian headdresses on, and they're like going in a circle. And then you're like, oh no, Monkees, it's 1966, I forgot. And then they look up at the sky like, where's the rain? And then they get like that fake snow just dumps on them. And that's the end of that little bit. What do you?
Well, let me ask you, having watched all this show, the entire arc of all these shows from beginning to end, how often does slightly problematic cultural appropriation or cultural representation come up in this 1960s show?
I have to say that is part of the reason why I started this podcast, is because I went back last year is when I really went to look back. It was like literally like a year ago when I got this DVD set that I can't use now because I don't have a DVD player. It was a year ago when I got the DVD set and looked at the remastered. #1, I was like, this is beautiful. The remastered ones are beautiful. Much better than the online episodes. And then #2, I was like, oh man, there's so much here that I'd never noticed as a kid and never talked, So yeah, like this is exactly why I wanted to do this podcast, to talk about how like it's not maliciously racist, but it's just racist, It's like... Yes.
But we're going to get to, we've touched on Miss Buntwell. I don't want to jump ahead, but there's a troubling episode. There's a troubling scene in here with Mike and Miss Buntwell.
So awful. And it's just right over my head as a kid. I was just like,
oh, totally. Because cartoons do that all the time. Yep, that's just the way the world is. Oh boy. So anyway, they go back from this. This was I didn't say the setup for this was Davy teaching them how to dance, right? Yes.
And then they cut back and they were like, oh, that was really fun. That was awesome. Can we do that again? And Davy gets to say his one of his stock lines, "You must be joking," and that's too expensive. We can't do that again. Sex, the costumes, we can't do that. Which is another great. What is it? You know what? I've kind of forgotten. It's the fourth wall, right? The fourth wall. You break the fourth wall, right?
Yes, breaking the fourth wall.
Okay.
And don't jump ahead because they're really going to break the fourth wall.
They're going to kick it down.
Yeah.
Another reason I loved this show as a kid is because no other show like it was like a cartoon. And yeah, there are very few other shows that would just turn and talk to you like the viewer. I loved the fourth wall breaking as a kid. That was one of the things that really hooked me about this show. So then we cut back to the pad. I think that's a commercial break there. We cut back to the pad, and Mike says one of my all-time favorite lines. This is a drag, a stone drag. and then Mickey's head just pops into frame.
Yes.
Like, an idea. Like, what? Yeah, that's what we need. We need a great idea. And
he says we need a brilliant idea. And they're like, oh, great. And he's like, yes, his big idea is we need an idea.
Yeah. So then he literally walks off set to go to the writer's room. And so you're thinking, oh, this is great. This is hilarious. Look at him walking through it.
What the heck?
Literally walking off the set, and it gets all fuzzy and out of focus and stuff. And there's like stagehands standing there. You see like the other bits of the apartment and stuff. And he's like, I'm going to go to the writer's room and ask them, for help, which is like dubbed in weirdly. And then he gets to the writer's room. And you're like, oh boy, this is going to be fun.
I was expecting a room full of smoking, literally smoking. So I always think when I think of writer's rooms, I think of a bunch of smoking Jews. Like they're going to go in, there's a bunch of Jews and madmen like Anglo-Saxon. So there's wasps and Jews smoking in a room writing the stories. And then they go in and Tekurah, what do they walk in and see? Oh, wait.
Hold on, let's back up. Brendan Michael Howard, are you Jewish?
I am Jewish. Yeah, I converted. Yeah.
Just wanted to put that out there for the listeners, not just like some weird guy talking about Jews. Okay.
But again, all the Jewish writers, around, tons of Jews in Hollywood. Yeah.
Yes. So, and we cut in, and it is a room full of stereotypical Chinese men.
Old Chinese men, old railroad workers from the Midwest, from the Old West.
They've got the long beards and mustaches. They've got the little Chinese hats on. And the saddest part of all, okay, if you're like, oh, that's a weird, that's unexpected, ho, 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 I guess. But then, this is a new wrinkle that I just noticed recently, like in the past year. Then there's a man in the corner. Brendan, did you see the man in the corner?
I don't remember who. I do remember a man in the corner that was not dressed up in their costumes. Tell me.
The man in the corner is like shirtless with a vest on. And he has a whip in his hand.
Oh, snap. I couldn't figure out who that was. He was leaning over the whole time, and I couldn't quite figure out what his deal was.
A whip in his hand. So it is literally like a sweatshop.
Yes.
Did the writers think like, we're so abused. We're like a Chinese sweatshop. Let's stick it to them. Is that what they thought?
I think, no, that's it.
Oh, my Lord. I mean, it was bad enough when it was just elderly Chinese men in traditional clothes. But the man in the corner with a whip just takes it to a whole other level. And anyway, so...
But they all have typewriters, and they all bang on these typewriters.
They type it up, and it's the colored pages because, script writing, they have different colors for different edits. And So they have the yellow. I don't know what yellow means, but they've got yellow. And they collect all the papers, and they hand it to Mickey. And he's like, oh, yeah, this is great, guys. Thanks. And he goes back through the set, goes back to the guys, and he's like, man, this is terrible. Those guys are overpaid. And I'm like, zinger. The writers zinged themselves, which is kind of cute. They zinged themselves. The writers.
It is. Again, it would have been better if the zing if they were more representative of who the writers were instead of a layered on bad joke. And it's like a Mad Magazine cartoon panel. Like, it would have been better. Today, we take that layer off and we just make fun of the writers. The writers had to put some negative cartoonish stereotype on top of them.
And then by saying that the literal sweatshop Chinese men were overpaid. Okay. So terrible. But as a kid, I'm like, he walked off the set. Yeah. That was all I got as a kid.
Yes.
So then Davy has an idea, which also doesn't make sense, but at least it isn't offensive. He says, "Hey, listen to this," and he has holding the paper, and he basically says that like, "Oh, Renaldo's a go-go dance something, so the ballroom's going to be filled with suckers." I'm like, wait, Davy, there was no date or time in anything that you read. You read an ad.
It's like the ad it's like, yes.
Yes, of course they advertise in the paper. What is your point, Davy? And I watched it, and I'm like, was there something edited out? It's like, no. If they did, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so he's like, oh, it's going to be filled with suckers all day. Suckers. And then cuts to Peter saying,
yeah,
all day suckers. And he has a little lollipop and he pretends to lick it. And they're like, that was terrible. And then, I forgot to watch for the wipe. I swear there's like a weird wipe to go to the next scene. I forgot to watch for it. It's in my old notes. Anyway. So then we're at the next scene so Davy leaves Mike with Miss Bontwell. Oh no. Okay. So
here we go.
The plan is that Davy is gonna like do something with the poor suckers that are in the ballroom. But first he's got to leave Mike with Miss Bontwell, so Miss Bontwell doesn't go into the ballroom.
Correct.
And then we have our good old-fashioned chasing the woman around the office.
I call it now the Pirates of the Caribbean move, because if you've been to the Disneyland ride, Pirates of the Caribbean, there's the part where the pirate, there's one part where they're basically selling the women of the town are getting sold. And there's a fat woman who chases one of the pirates around and around at the sale of the people in town.
Now,
and they're like,
I thought they took that out. Didn't they?
They did take it out, but it hasn't been 10 years since they took it out. Like it was
yeah, that's true.
Yes, they took it out, but yes, the chase, the man chases the woman, and then the woman chases it. But here we have the man chasing the woman.
And at first it starts out cute with Mike saying, "Oh, I love you." There's all these little cute little vaudevillian bits that I actually like, because it starts off just Mike saying, "I'm in love with you. My heart wants you. My what does he say? My heart wants you. My brain wants you," or something. And then she's like, "What does your liver have to say?" He's like, "Not much." So that one's cute. And then we go back and forth between Davy in the room with the old ladies, and he's saying things like, you're treated with respect here, or our teachers are really nice." And then here comes Peter and Mickey. Oh boy. And Mickey is Mickey the woman? Oh, I have this all.
Well, they switch. Mickey's the woman at one point. Peter's the woman. I don't remember which is the switch.
Yeah, I think the first time it's Peter going, "You better learn that new step by tomorrow."
Yes.
No, please. So that one's kind of cute. And the lady and the old lady's like, "Oh no." I forgot to say, when Davy goes in the room with the ladies in the ballroom, of the little voiceover, not voiceover, but when they dub in like the conversation of the ladies.
Yes.
Like saying, "Oh, look at him, he's so cute. He's so cute." They have the old ladies talking about how cute Davy is, which is pretty realistic. I think that would actually happen. Look, he's so cute. So, and then we cut back with Miss Bontwell and Mike, and I used to have all of these memorized, and I can't believe I can't remember them now. This is I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't drink. And she says, like, "Why?" He says, "I ain't got no money." And she does a good take to the camera. Oh, so that one. And then and then Davy says, "You'll learn the latest dance steps," and then they come out as cavemen. And Ooga Booga.
Yes.
Just cavemen. So stupid. And then some of the ladies were like, "Well, I never." And they're offended by the existence of cavemen in the studio. And so so the women are leaving. The old ladies are leaving. They're disgusted by this. And then Mike is saying it's like chemistry. And Miss Bontwell says, "Well, I failed chemistry." And he's like, "Well, it's like biology." And she's like, "Oh, I passed biology." And they're happy. And then
you really do remember these lines. This is quite impressive.
Yes, I'm telling you, I love this episode. And then says Davy says, "We're patient with the mistakes," and that's when Mickey threatens the lady Pete. and Pete was sexually harassing Lady Nene. That's what the other one was. Pete comes in and is like, hey, baby.
Yes.
He's like, just like grabbing at her head and stuff, just like putting at her. He's just like, oh, well, I never, stop. And then the old ladies are storming out. Caveman dance, biology, perfect gentlemen. Yeah, that's what he says. He says, oh, and our dance teachers are perfect gentlemen. And that's when Peter hits on Lady Mickey. And then we cut back, and now poor Miss Ventwell is being chased.
Here's the chase, and the wacky speed chase. It's sped up, so it's the cartoonishly fast chase around the room.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, look at Mike chasing this poor woman around the room. So, and then you think back, well, they were making out earlier. It's like, oh, she was only doing that to make the sale. She wasn't really interested in him. So this like really is just sexual harassment. Or maybe she was interested in him and she's changed her mind, because a lady could change her mind, Mike. So
this is why I think Miss Buntwell is so interesting, because as you've identified, she's in on the grift, but she doesn't seem as bad as Renaldo. I don't think the writers put all this thought into her, but you could explore every scene and try to figure out, but through her behavior and her dialogue, what is she thinking? What does she mean? What are her intentions during this entire episode?
Yes.
I don't know. It's just, she just becomes, then there's just parts where she's not just cartoony. They kind of give her agency and they give her funny things to say. And then other times she just kind of has to become the foil at those moments. Yeah, so it's I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So finally, poor Miss Buntwell's on the table. And Renaldo comes in and he's just mad that she's on the table. Does not care that why she's on the table. It's like, oh, you should be in the ballroom. What are you doing?
You're supposed to be out there.
So terrible. And so then Renaldo stops all the old ladies from leaving. And this is funny. I wrote the same notes last time and this time. That he's like, Renaldo's Dance a Go-Go is designed for your fun and pleasure. Fun and pleasure. It's so terrifying. Oh, he's got that like gritted teeth smile.
His teeth are spooky. Do you think he's wearing dentures? They're very white. His teeth are very white.
Yes, I think that's a carrot. I think they did. Yeah, they must have given him something, because it's good for his character. I mean, that totally fits.
Yes,
big fake white teeth.
Yeah.
And so then, he tells Miss Buntwell to go get the dancing smoothies. Who I love the dancing smoothies so much. They constantly do like a little Olay pose, and they have like a little stompy sound every time they do their Olay pose, and a castanet sound. They have little mustaches on. Anyway, and Miss Buntwell is irritated by them too. She has like a little because they constantly do the Olay thing. She rolls her eyes at them. Anyway, so they're ready to come out and dance with the ladies, and then the Monkees. wait, hold on, I missed a note. Wait, the Monkees, they make a plan to go. They're like, oh wait, let's get together, and they hubbub together. But if you listen closely, they literally say rhubarb. 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 I think somebody says arugula. I'm not sure. And so then they go and they stick up. They pull guns. They pull guns on the dancing smoothie.
They do, but they have a good setup. I think they tell them, they're like, do you know this dance? Oh, but is it the Magumba or the Goomba or the? Yeah, and then he's like, well, here's how you do it. You put your left hand up, and they put their left hand up, and they put their right hand up, and they put it up, and they just stick them up.
Right.
Yeah.
Stick up.
They do.
So
it's good.
Yeah, but there's the casual use of guns in the series is crazy to me.
I was wondering about, so it's just a cartoonish thing, the way Bugs Bunny holds up somebody. Okay. Yeah.
Happens a lot. And another thing about the dancing, they always have this little self-satisfied smug smile on their faces because they are so smooth. We are the dancing smoothies. We are the hottest thing. They're so adorable. And then we get romp number 2.
Yes.
Because Renaldo introduces the dancing smoothies, and it's not the smoothies, it's the Monkees. What? And there we get I'm a Believer. Boop, 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 boop. And we have romp number 2. And then the smoothies come in. So the Monkees are dancing with the ladies. And Renaldo's like, what's happening? And then the smoothies come in their long underwear and ropes.
Yes, I love that. I love they show up to the chaos is going on in the middle of the I'm a Believer music scene, and then they show in to add to the chaos.
And they do their Olay pose.
Yes.
And then Miss Buntwell is running around in there too. We get weird close-ups of Miss Buntwell dancing.
Oh, Miss Buntwell, I love her because she goes up on the stage thing and she's really getting into it. And like Renaldo's looking really angry about her dancing, but she's really into the dancing. She's lost the grift. She's up on the stage. Everyone else is in the chaos below. She's really getting into it. She's dancing for herself.
Yes, Miss Buntwell, the emancipation of Miss
That's what I'm saying. This is the end of the Ibsen play where the female character breaks free of the men and just is living her life. She's living her truth now in the lame. Her rear end in that gold lame, they show it from the front, the back, the side. They go crazy in highlighting her lame. Crazy.
Yes, you're right. Yes. I was like always wondering, like, why is Miss Buntwell here? Because she needs to dance.
Yes, she does.
She's dancing it out. I love Miss Buntwell. I'm sure tiptoeing around. She's got some arm motions. It's very nice.
Yep.
We see Mickey dancing with his puppy, which I think actually was a puppy that Mickey bought at that time. When I'm like comparing it to like things that I've read, I'm like, oh, that's Mickey's puppy that he bought. And then Renaldo cuts in to dance with the puppy, which is really cute. And then Renaldo's talking to the puppy as he's dancing. That's a nice bit. And then there's like all these little ways to get the smoothies. Like first they were doing like some kind of finger game. The Monkees were doing a finger game with the smoothies where they were like, it almost looked like rock, paper, scissors, but they were doing like holding out numbers and then matching up with different smoothies. I don't know what that game was. If anybody knows what that game is, please let me know. At Monkees Podcast. You can find me on all social media at Monkees Podcast. A podcast PAW. And then they make a fence out of the old ladies. The old ladies form a fence and they're like waving their hands like little spirit fingers, and then they end up playing volleyball.
And this is where they drive Renaldo, our villain. He starts to go crazy at this. This is his crazy part. The old ladies spinning in a circle. You can tell that's the part. They go back to him and they're moving too fast for me. Everything's going so fast.
Yes, they have a huddle. They huddle up with the old ladies first.
Yes.
Test this out.
Uh-huh.
They do like a little football huddle where somebody pops up and points and then goes back down. You know, it's a great cartoony bit. Yeah, and then the old defeat the villains by making them dizzy.
Yes.
It's all you need to do. You don't need guns. You just spin around them really fast so the ladies go around.
Interestingly, however, you say they don't need guns, but as you pointed out earlier, less than 5 minutes before, the Monkees threatened to murder other people and tied them up. So apparently you don't need guns for the big climax with the villain, but you can use it in you can threaten violence in smaller scenes.
Yeah, where'd the guns go? Just throw a gun on Renaldo. That's it.
Right.
Episode over. Monkees murdered. Hippies murder respected dance teacher. Okay, Santa Monica hippies murder respected dance teacher, dance instructor. So they make him dizzy. They pull down the Renaldo's dance. It's a go-go sign and wrap him up in it, and that's it. Renaldo has been defeated, y'all. That's it. They just wrapped him up.
Wait, can I ask you one question about what you just said there? You joked about this, like, hey, headline of, crazy hippies murder respected dance instructor. Yeah. But I've been watching Adam 12 here. So I'm on vacation in California with my mom. We've been watching episodes of Adam 12. My mom says, there's a lot of stuff in here about how drugs are bad and hippies are bad, basically destabilizing society. They leave their kids behind. They use too many drugs. That's why they get involved in crime. And it does make me think about that. There are strands in television. While the Monkees are there going, hey, hippie music, all this is fun, there are definitely strands of culture and television. They're talking about how this hippie-ish, childish antics, this is actually dangerous and destabilizing.
Exactly, yes. It is very interesting. Because, like, this first season, they're still pretty clean cut. But, like, in the second season, they just go full hippie. And, like, I've seen articles from, like, fan magazines where kids have written in going, they're terrible now. I wish they hadn't gone hippie. And other kids are like, it's beautiful. I love that they're hippie. Like, it was like a big deal amongst the fans, like the way they transitioned in the second season to get more hippie-like.
Man.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And then there's like, sometimes there's they do little interviews with the boys after the shows, like when the shows run short, and they like talk about like do you remember, I don't know, there's like some kind of riot in LA about curfews with clubs.
I don't remember, but
and teenagers, and it wasn't wasn't that big a deal in the grand scheme of what's going on in the 60s. But yeah, so they talk about, like, sometimes they talk about like current events and stuff, and you know they're young hippie, God, and they're like, yeah, kids are awesome, you know, they're so it's adorable. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, that whole like there's no authority figure for the Monkees. They're on their own, but they're still nice boys, you know, because like at the end of this episode, when they show up in the office, torture poor Renaldo, and his tie is like all messed up. They say they'll leave him alone if he rips up all the other contracts of all his victims, because the Monkees are nice boys.
Yes.
So they get Renaldo to rip up all of the things, and then I don't know if you saw that Mickey gets hit and Davey accidentally hits Mickey in the face.
Oh, that was my favorite part about them being in the file cabinet, and all 5 of them are clustered around this one file cabinet. So they're ripping these folders out. Yeah, Mickey gets whacked in the. Did he actually get? I'm like worried he almost got his eye put out, because he makes a huge dramatic move about I got whacked in the head.
Yeah.
I was expecting like curse, like fuck, like oh crap, cut. We got to do the file cabinet again. Mickey, come on, man.
I know. It's so funny. And so, yeah, so they get him to rip up all the contracts, and then they leave, but then there's still Peter hanging out. I mean, I was like, what do you want? And he's like, can you teach me the box step again? Oh, Pete! And then that's the end of the episode.
They grab him, like, no, we're done with this guy.
Like, Pete, come on. I love it. Okay, so...
Oh, are the Monkees ever allowed? So again, this is where I think where this small show that was around for this time, it taps into, like, again, ancient mythology. A true proper trickster doesn't have morals and ethics. You know, like the true trickster coyote, Loki, they're, no matter how, if they do good accidentally, they can never be trusted. But the Monkees, just as you said, like, they're not true, like Bugs Bunny, like chaos demons. They're nice. They're not doing. So is every episode. So they're never immoral. They might be chaotic and crazy, and out of money, but
yeah, that's the thing.
They're always good.
They're always good, and they never make it big. Those are like the two.
Okay.
Things. They never become the Beatles, and they're always good. Like they help out. They're all their neighbors in other episodes are like elderly. Like, you know what's funny? I was saying elderly. Then I was looking at those women. I was like, I wonder how old those women actually were. Like, were they my age? Are they like in their 40s?
And compared to the Monkees, it's all the problem is comparison. Like, they're ancient. Where did they find people that old? But then you're like, in normal, you're like, oh, she's pretty good looking. Is she like 50 or whatever? Yeah.
Oh, so I was wondering. Anyway, but like in the episodes, like their neighbors are like all like old people, and they like help them out, and they come over.
Okay.
And, like all friends. So they're nice, and they like befriend children. You know, they're good. They're good boys. They're good boys. So that was Dance Monkees Dance. I do like this episode. What did you think? How was your Monkees experience?
This is the first. I think this is the first episode of the Monkees in all my life I've probably paid attention to from beginning to end. I thought it's this is like my experiencing watching Adam 12. When I started here, the show is slow and the acting feels old-fashioned, but it makes you realize how fast-paced everything is. I mean, the Monkees is fast-paced, but even like you mentioned, like this scene is 60 seconds, it's too long. If you go watch old TV, there's scenes that go way too long, but things are moving at a little slower pace. And now we have just fine-tuned the attention span to be able to, I can get this in 5.5 seconds and make this successful in 5.5 seconds. Yeah. And that speed, there's a certain speed that our brains have now been trained to move in that makes it, I think it's, so all that to say, I think it's probably a good thing to go back and watch old television, old movies, listen to old music, slow this stuff down a little bit. Your brain's moving too fast. That's true. That is true. That 60-second scene was really killing me. And also, so long. Like today, there was once upon in these. This has 2 musical interludes, and pretty much, I'm not sure. Does the whole song play? Like, do they play the whole "I'm a Believer" song? Okay, that's a long time.
It is like they're like I was noticing in I'll Be Back Upon My Feet. There's like an interlude where there's no singing. It's just the music, and I found myself going, what's going on? I was like, that's what's happening. Something's wrong. Oh, there's just like a little musical break in this song. There's no solo or anything. Slow it down, y'all. Go back, watch an old movie. I used to show my students old movies back when you didn't have to write a lesson plan for every single goddamn thing you do. I would show them clips from old movies, like especially if we were singing songs. Like I would show them like old Fred Astaire things. I remember I would show them Singing in the Rain. And I remember once, this is when I lived in San Jose, I showed them like the Moses Supposes dance from Singing in the Rain.
Okay.
And they applauded at the end. They were like, oh, like, you guys are adorable. Like every once in a while, they'll be like, oh, but in San Bernardino, where I teach now, I've showed them, they liked Hairspray. That was a good, and by the way, kids of all ages love, Do You Hear the People Sing from Les Mis? That'll always
have power.
Yeah, that's always a good one. That is always good. That and Footloose, I found. Those are evergreen.
This is interesting. Again, the most important thing about watching this episode is this establishes that I had a superficial understanding of the Monkees quartet, and I thought Mike was the one, and now I realize Mickey. Again, I want to extol. I'm fascinated. It would be interesting to see other episodes because he's not the focus of this episode, but he's super important in he's really good, even if he's not important to the plot. He's great in all the scenes where he's given something big to do.
Yes, he always has like an accent or an impression or some wacky thing to do. Yes. And he brings his puppy into a scene. And that ends up working. So a couple of things that I usually do is I like to have people say like who was their like MVP of the episode.
Okay.
Mine is Miss Buntwell because I'm obsessed with that character. You don't see those characters anymore on TV or in movies. They were everywhere in the 60s. The Adelaide, Miss Buntwell, like who else? I can't think of who else had that character. Aaron Keefe on the podcast Hey Riddle Riddle does this character from time to time if she can. It's a great character to do. It's who I always wanted to do when I was a kid, thinking I would be in musicals in high school. I was like, well, I want to be the Missy Adelaide. That's fun. That's what I wanted to do. So Miss Buntwell, for the ages, my mom had an old gold lame dress that she kept from like the 60s. And I would wear that. Like I wore that for like a Halloween costume one year because I was just so in love with that whole look, that gold lame. Oh, I need to find a picture of myself in that gold lame dress. I love gold lame. I love that accent. I love your emancipation of Miss Buntwell theory.
Yes.
It is Miss Buntwell for the win. How about you?
I would, of course, pick Karen James as Miss Buntwell as the absolute standout character. And if not that, if you track Mickey, in this episode, Davy is given important things to do. But, like, think about all the things Mickey did with much shorter scenes and much shorter moments. And then Davy is given 60 seconds of physical comedy. 60 seconds of physical comedy. And all he can do, really, think about Mickey in a few seconds, as you've identified in the Mexican hat dance, hangs the thing across his face and he's being goofy with it. Davy gets 60 seconds of screen time where the guy, Renaldo's tweaking him faster and switching the songs. And all he does is like a subpar improv comedian just tries to keep up. He tries to keep up with the speed. Oh, a little mamba, a little waltz here. Look at me. Like, I get it. I'm looking at you for 60 seconds, Davy. For 60 seconds, I've looked at you. Enough looking at you. Moving on.
Burn, Davy. Oh, wow.
So Mickey, I'm impressed with Mickey. I'd say Mickey is great.
Hey, Mickey. Okay. Now, introduce on the last podcast, because people, have I played this with other people? I can't remember. Anyway, introduced by my friend, comedian Mark Leonard. we have a game called Park Coffee Shins Bank. So out of the 4 Monkees, which one would you like to go to the park with? Which one would you like to have coffee with? Which one would you kick in the shins? And which one would you rob a bank with? So
Wait, park?
Coffee, shins, bank.
Oh, I think this is easy. I want to go to the park with Peter.
Okay.
I want to have coffee with Mickey. I want to kick Davy in the shins. And Mike has a command, and I'm not sure in every episode it'll be interesting to see. Mike clearly has a command of contract law and legal issues. And so I would definitely take Mike to the bank. I think he would, because I know if there were a contract sitting in front of me that a teller or a loan officer gave me, Mike would do the important work of lifting the contract up, and then the pages would fall down, comedy style. And so he'd read the whole thing. Mike could always be counted on to do that. I would absolutely take him to the bank.
Now, it's rob a bank. Is it still Mike?
Oh, crap. Rob a bank.
Yeah. You're robbing the bank.
Yes. Here's why. Mike, in this episode, he's the one who he sets up the what are the dancers called?
The dancing smoothies. The
dancing smoothies. He's the one who orchestrates the put your left hand up, your right hand up, your stick them up.
Yeah.
That is he is calm and cool about, if I go into a bank robbery, I want the leader. I don't want the people at the end of Pulp Fiction who are freaking out. I want the leader of the gang who keeps everyone calm. This is fine, people. Don't worry. We have a gun on you, but everything's going to be cool. That's Mike. He's going to be cool.
Good. You know what? I think out of the last few times, I think Mike usually is the bank. Yeah. What people
really? They pick him to rob the bank with Mike?
They're like, because Mike will be cool. He has a good plan. Yeah, totally. Okay, so let me think. Is there anything else? You are a writer. You are an editor. You are also a podcaster. What is your podcast, Mr. Brendan, and how can people find you?
My podcast is called What People Do, and all I do is I have one person on the podcast, and we talk about one thing they do. So we talked about ballroom dancing, we talked about paddleboarding, we've talked about art. It's just one person about one thing they do, and I don't know how they'd find it. Maybe I don't know. We could put a link somewhere. I don't know. I'm on Podbean, so if you look for what people do on Podbean, it'll be there.
What people do on Podbean, and do you want people to contact you on follow you on Twitter? Come on. No,
I don't. I'm not a big social media person. I guess if you want to, I guess if people want to email me, they can always email me at brendan.howard@gmail.com. But yeah, not that big on social media.
That's true. No. You left.
I know.
And I will check out your podcast. You mentioned it, and I didn't realize when did you start the podcast?
I started it because we were joking at the beginning. I consider myself now a victim of late stage capitalism, and I got laid off. So I started it pretty much around that time. Yeah, kind of like I should start doing this monthly. So that's what I did.
I'm sorry. I will check that out. I apologize that I have not checked out your podcast. Oh, I hear you.
Well, I make a point also of not. I'm not a huge. I'm not good at promotion or any of that stuff.
Neither am I, but I would like to thank the people that have been reviewing me on Apple Podcasts. I see there have been 11. I have 11 ratings now. For the longest time, there were 2, and 1 was me. And now, boom, we have 11 ratings, and most of them are 5-star. I remember you 4-star guy. I remember.
He was just trying to keep it. I mean, there's always that one person who's like, well, I don't want to give you 5. You'll have nowhere to go. But He
had a valid reason. Yeah. I'm saying I remember you because I know you were right. I get too quiet sometimes. And then Mike, when I had a microphone, I would get real quiet thinking I was being dramatic. And he's like, I just can't hear you. And you're right. But the latest review is from my dear friend, Mark Masterson. He can be found at @BatMasterson. I mean, try to read his review. I have not read his review. But he's like also my unofficial fact checker. Like as he listens, he will like he will like tweet at me in the podcast, like, oh, you were looking for this information, like, oh, you were asking about this, which other people find annoying, I think, but maybe it's because I'm just a weird, curious person, or because I love Mark so much, it doesn't bother me. I love that he like contacts me with like that thing you were trying to think of was this. Here's his review. The Monkees exist at the intersection of Beatles, Bond, and Batman, making them extremely relevant to my interests. This podcast does not disappoint. The host is in the tradition of James Bonding. Oh my gosh. A lover, not an expert. Oh, I love the reference to James Bonding. Okay, let me go on. The co-hosts are excellent, whether they be Monkee fans or skeptics. I sincerely love revisiting the show to appreciate these conversations. You are a darling, Mark Masterson, and thank you. And then Helen Hurd. I didn't mention Helen Hurd. There's finally a Monkees rewatch podcast. I've been waiting for one. Love the host and her co-host. Oh, thank you. The attention to detail is the best, and the trivia is really great. Keep it up. Thank you, Helen. Oh, this is, I'm so excited. Anyway, so, wow, James Bond. Are you familiar with James Bonding?
No.
It's a podcast, and it's hosted by some people that I really admire and look up to, and like Mark knows that. So anyway, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Helen Hurd. Thank you, Brendan.
You're welcome.
Writer, editor, and podcaster, and friend, a good friend who has put up with me these many decades.
Who would I have talked to about XTC and life for so long, other than you?
Idea. Gosh, I really do miss your Matthew Sweet hair, though.
I'm sure I miss my Matthew Sweet hair, too.
I'm so kidding. You're the best. Love you. All right. So I think that's going to wrap it up. I have no idea how long this is because I did not pay attention. I did not set a timer. So I apologize, everybody, if we rambled on for far too long. This has been the Monkees Podcast. Subscribe, leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Find us on all social media at Monkees Podcast. And support the show by getting official podcast merch at dragonwagonshop.com. I still have not bought my own t-shirt.
Tekurah, come on! You're not even walking around with your branding on you, for heaven's sake.
Well, where am I going?
Oh, you're right. This is tough. You're right.
What?
Can you make everyone's into the Facebook?
Yes!
You need to make some logo that people can use and put their face into.
Okay, we'll talk. All right.
Okay.
So, thank you, everybody. And hopefully I will re-record with the great Bobby Oliver to make up for that lost recording. I think that's it. Everybody stay safe. Be careful of that big semi that just went by. And take care of yourselves. Oh, by the way, it's okay to not feel okay. It's okay to not feel okay because shit is weird. Shit is real weird right now, everybody. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Bye. Love you. Bye. 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 Say bye, Brendan.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Jake Lloyd, and I am a lifelong pro wrestling fan.
And I'm Alexandra Hoy, brand new to this bizarre and inspiring world of drama, action, and comedy that I was surprised to fall in love with.
If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Pro wrestling has something for everyone.
So, of course, I want to know everything. But I've got decades worth of stories and characters to catch up on.
So what better crash course in WWE history for my better half here than the iconic Royal Rumble match?
Once a year, 30 wrestlers compete in one massive match, and we're watching all of them.
We pick a random year out of the Jar O Rumbles and watch it in real time right alongside you on each episode of our enlightening podcast, Me, You, and 30 Other Men.
So join us at meyouand30.com or wherever you podcast.
Dragon Wagon.